And welcome to That's My Sports. I'm your host with the most, Aaron Cass. I'm doing a solo dolo show today, which is okay. Seyi is out and about. I'm doing some work for the Atlanta Hawks. He's checking out that game earlier this week, so he's just getting the report on that. Hollywood Ray, I would hope he's at church, but I'm not sure because he is Hollywood Ray, so he likes to do whatever he wants. So he got me today. So we're doing a nice little live stream. We weren't going to do it, but I was like, you know what? Let me just do it because I feel like I need to get some stuff off what happened this weekend or this week. So, before we start off, make sure you forget to like, subscribe, and follow That's My Sports on YouTube and all major stream platforms, which is on the ticker right now going down. And let's get right into it. So Thursday Night Football happened, actually a good one, but it came with a cost. Of course, it comes with a cost. And it was the Cincinnati Bengals against the Baltimore Ravens. I picked the Tiger King. I think, Shay, you picked the Ravens. I'm sorry, Hollywood Ray picked the Ravens. So 34-20 Ravens, and two injuries happened. One, oh, man, freaking their best receiver, Mark Andrews, went down after only catching 2 catches for 23 yards. Man, you hate to see it. Season ending. I think he broke his fibia type part of the ankle. That's another bad weapon. Well, good weapon, but bad now for Lamar Jackson. I mean, tough break. And then Joe Burrow apparently had a wrist injury Wednesday. Plays on Thursday. Gets hurt. He only threw for 101 yards and a touchdown. Sacked 2 times. And then Jake Browning, Washington Husky native, had to come in and take over. Obviously, he couldn't get the job done. He only threw 1 touchdown, and they lost by 14. So going forward is going to be Jake Browning. So that's a little concerning. Now, we all know Joe Burrow has been AFC title games, Super Bowl, pretty much the best Cincinnati Bengal that has pretty much thrown a pass for the Bengals. So could we consider him a bust? In the sense of being healthy, I feel like he's always hurt. And I'm not sure if you could call him a bust. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that. But you know what? I'm here for it. So if you want to put in the comments, I'm definitely open for it. Put down your thoughts on what I just said here about Joe Burrow being a bust health-wise. We can definitely go toe-to-toe. It just seems like every year he gets hurt with something. Now the NFL has to investigate why they didn't put Joe Burrow on the injury report and this and that. It's like, that's your franchise quarterback. You literally just paid him. He's the highest paid quarterback in front of Justin Herbert. And you don't put that he has a hurt wrist. I don't understand what's going on. So, I mean, if that's what Paul Brown wants to do and Zach Taylor, and you want to throw out Jake Browning and as your 5-5, then go right on ahead. But Lamar Jackson had a great game, 16 for 26, 264, 2 touchdowns. Again, he lost Mark Andrews. That's your best receiver. Hopefully now maybe Odell Beckham will step up. I know he hurt his shoulder, but he did have 116 yards. It's pretty much season high for the Ravens, so hopefully he'll step it up. Hopefully Isaiah Likely will step it up. I know he was with the Carolina Panthers last year, so he does have experience playing tight end and starter role. So hopefully he'll step up. Obviously, Zay Flowers, the rookie's pretty good for Lamar Jackson. So hopefully everyone kind of plays bigger roles. I mean, Gus Bus. If you have Gus Edwards is your running back, make sure you put him in RB2, or hopefully you did, I should say, because they played Thursday. So 2 touchdowns, 12 for 62. I mean, it's nothing more you can ask for. Baltimore Ravens just 8-3 surging. I don't know how they do it. They're always hurt with certain players, and yet they always have a good record. So there must be something going on in the water down in Baltimore, but good for John Harbaugh. So before I get into some college football talk, I'm just going to check real quick here for the injury report because it is 11:30. There are 1 o'clock games going on in the NFL. And I don't see anything yet. Usually it pops up here on Bleacher Report, but we'll head. Oh, here we go. Desmond Ridder named QB1 off the bye week as Taylor Heineke serves as the backup. Oh boy, this is going to be a nice carousel in Atlanta. I said it 2 weeks ago on the Seyi and Aaron podcast with Seyi, who is not here this Sunday. He's out and about doing some Atlanta Hawk research. I said Justin Fields should get traded to the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I think this is a good culture move for him. He has a statue in Kennesaw, Georgia. Then you bring in Eric Bieniemy because Arthur Smith is just ugh. Even though Shea did say that Arthur Blank tries to keep his coaches out, for more than 2-3 years, kind of just likes to ride the ride. If you can get this done, get it done. You're wasting Kyle Pitts. You're wasting Drake London. I mean, what are you doing? You're throwing touchdown passes to Scotty Miller, which you're not throwing it to Drake London. You're throwing touchdown passes to Jonnu Smith. I get it, he was in Tennessee, but you're not throwing it to Kyle Pitts, who essentially is your best tight end wide receiver hybrid. So they need to get Justin Fields. Even though right here too, the Bears are committed to Justin Fields, and it has to be blown away by another quarterback to replace Justin. So obviously, is it a smoke screen? Are they saying it so they can get Caleb Williams? I don't know. But as far as I know, Justin Fields is staying with the Bears. But if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, I'm calling them right now on the phone. This is my little telephone. I'm calling them on the telephone, and I'm saying, hey, we want Justin Fields. What's it going to take? Because you need him. You need him. He's not going to be your Michael Vick, but maybe he could be your Matt Ryan with better wheels. In all honesty, I mean, Atlanta needs to do something because obviously you're going between Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. I think Taylor Heineke is a better quarterback than Desmond Ridder, but that's just me. So, also, too, the New York Jets are trying to reunite Davante Adams with Aaron Rodgers in 2024. That should be interesting, considering Davante Adams' contract and Aaron Rodgers' contract. So let me just pull that up right here for Davante Adams and see if the Jets can afford that. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, so Davante Adams is a 16 mil cap hit, almost 17 next year. Then he gets 35, and then 35, and he's a free agent. So unless Joe Douglas is going to pull the trigger and getting Davante Adams, they need to do something with that cap space because that is too much, especially with Aaron Rodgers pushing back his salary into next year. That's good luck, Jets. I mean, it would be great. You need that number one. And Garrett Wilson's there, I think is a great number one as well, but he could be your number two. That would be a very lethal combo in East Rutherford. So, I feel like that would be interesting, but we're going to have to see. And Patriot news real quick. Josh Uche, linebacker, had very honest talk with Patriots head coach during the trade rumors. He's appreciative of Bill Belichick. Speaking of Bill Belichick, since we're on that, I could see him going to the LA Chargers. Fresh start, gets his wins, do all that. And I think he's definitely better than Brandon Staley. He just can't be the GM. That's what he cannot do. So if he's going to go over the Chargers, Tom Telesco's probably going to get fired, but they definitely need a GM to put in place for Bill Belichick. It can't be someone that Bill knows just because Bill cannot run the show. We've seen it right now with the Patriots. They're not doing anything to help them. Mac Jones is obviously a bust, which we'll talk about real quick with college quarterbacks. But it's just not working out. Bill, the GM, is not working out in New England. Bill, the coach, is fine. It's just Bill, the GM, is not fine. So they need to do something over there. I think Bill Belichick's going to stay, but I think if he were to move, I think the Chargers would be their best bet. So going on to the college football, we have right here, Syracuse is going to fire Dino Babbers. He's been there for 8 seasons for the Orange Man with a 41-55 record. I think it's time to move on now. Who's going to go over there? I have no idea. I'm not sure who would take the Syracuse job. Donovan McNabb, I mean, he has no coaching experience. Jimbo Fisher, he doesn't really have to do anything. He's getting paid $23,000 a day just to stay away from coaching. So I don't think he's going to come back anytime soon. So that's going to be interesting with Syracuse. I feel like they have a decent team. They just haven't gone over to that 8-9 win hump. and got into big games in the last 3 years. So moving on to college quarterbacks. So Drake May, Caleb Williams. Both lost yesterday against their respective foes. Obviously, USC lost to UCLA. I believe it was 31-20. Going to pull that one up right now just because that is the favorite going on here. Bear with me, folks. You would think my phone would be fast because it's an iPhone. I'm sorry, 38-20. So Caleb Williams, 31 for 42, 384, 1-1. Potentially last game as a Trojan. They're 7-5. They're not going to go to a good bowl game. Chip Kelly's UCLA Bruins, though, 7-4, and apparently Chip Kelly's going to get fired. I mean, that's a pretty good record for UCLA. It doesn't seem like they've been that bad of a squad. But Caleb Williams in his career, 3,633 yards. I'm sorry, yeah, for the season, 30 touchdowns and 5 picks. It's pretty good. So he lost in his potential final game. And Drake May, I know he had 2 touchdowns, but I think he only threw for maybe 100 yards in the second half because he had. Yeah, so he threw for 102 yards in the second half and a pick because he was 16 for 36, 209, 1-1, lost 31-20 to the Clemson Tigers. So that is interesting because he is 3,354 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions on the year. So that is the top 2 picks. So where are these quarterbacks going to go? Now, the Giants are at 2. The Cardinals are at, since they won, they should be at 5. And the Patriots are at 4. The Panthers/Bears are at 1. So if I'm the New England Patriots, I would go after Drake May. Now, I know Bill Belichick. It's not going to happen. It's not the Belichick way. He's already tried it with Mac Jones. Obviously not working out since he's third on the depth chart. So I think they're going to go Joe Alt or the tackle from Penn State, but more likely Joe Alt from Notre Dame. So we can scratch that one off. Chicago, they have Justin Fields, and they're already saying they're committed to him. So they're going to probably go Marvin Harrison at the 1, and then at the 3, they could go after the tackle or Joe Alt from Notre Dame or the tackle from Penn State. So that leaves the Giants, the Cardinals, for Caleb Williams and Drake May. Now, if you also follow the Feeling Blue podcast, check that out on CPNY Sports. He's on every platform, X, Instagram, YouTube. Check out our YouTube Feeling Blue podcast with CPNY Sports and myself. We've discussed that he wants Drake May to go over to the Giants. We've had Caleb Williams talk as well. I feel like they should just keep Tyrod for another year and then, tank for Shedeur Sanders. I feel like he'd be a lot better, but, that's just me. So it's all pointing to Drake May is going to be the next quarterback for the New York Football Giants. That's going to be established. Caleb Williams, though, he's got the legs. Did anyone see that touchdown throw, the first touchdown throw that he threw? Oh, my goodness. I don't know if you can do that in the NFL, but he pretty much was not looking, just said, here you go, almost like a Hail Mary throw, touchdown. So he does exceptional plays like that. He's obviously on his feet. There's a lot of rushing touchdowns this year. The only problem is that he gets hit as he's running. So it's just, how much can you take in the NFL? How many hits can you take in the NFL? I don't know. But if I'm the Cardinals, I'm probably going to keep Kyler Murray. From the Chicago Bears, I don't think they're going to take him. So maybe Bill Belichick will go after Caleb Williams. Maybe he'll go after Drake May. Who knows? All I know is I think the Giants are going to pick Drake May, and I think Caleb Williams will go, possibly to the Patriots at 4 if Bill Belichick wants to. Or maybe the Atlanta Falcons will trade up. Maybe Atlanta Falcons are tired of this Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke, and they might be a surprise team and go get Caleb Williams. They're only going to do that, though, if Eric Bieniemy becomes the head coach. If Eric Bieniemy becomes the head coach of Atlanta Falcons, book it. Skip Bayless in it. Book it. Caleb Williams will be an Atlanta Falcon. They will find a way to trade up. They did it before to get Julio Jones back in 2000. I think it's 2009, 2010. They found a way to get Julio Jones in Atlanta, and they did it. So if they can get Caleb Williams to Atlanta, they will absolutely do it. And before I dip more into the college football world, because a lot of things happened yesterday, and listen, I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan. Prayers up to Jordan Travis. If anyone saw that, I mean, that was a crazy snap of the leg. I mean, it wasn't even really his leg. I think it was like his foot. Again, CPNY Sports, what's going on, man? I just saying, check out the Feeling Blue podcast right there in CPNY Sports. It's on YouTube. Check that out. We also do Blue Shirts banner for any Ranger fans out there. But again, Feeling Blue, we talk about the Caleb Williams, Drake May situation I just talked about. So before I get more into the NCAA football, I just wanted to put a shout out here. It's definitely a little bit old, but shout out to Aaron Matson, which is a most decorative field hockey player in the UNC history. So after graduating, the Tar Heels offer her the head coaching job, making her the youngest in the NCAA at 23 years old. And in year one, she led her former teammates to the number one ranking and just won the ACC for field hockey. That shout out. I mean, that is amazing to see. Definitely amazing. So let's see here. Jaden Daniels, 8 touchdowns yesterday. Now, people are trying to compare that to Joe Burrow's season where he had 8 touchdowns. But let's be real here. Joe Burrow did not play up against Georgia State when he had his 8 touchdowns. So Jaden Daniels had 6 touchdowns passing, 2 running. So he had 413 yards on 25 of 30 passes with the 6 touchdowns. And then he ran it for 10 for 96 for 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, impressive, but it is against Georgia State. So that's a little mid. I'm not going to really, toot my horn or get too crazy with it. But also, another one too, Michael Penix Jr., 13 for 28, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he got one on the ground, 3 for 22, but just squeaked by Oregon State. 22-20. So they're obviously going to their Pac-12 bowl game, which will be the last ever in history, which hopefully will get good ratings. But I'm going to pull up right here the Pac-12 standings and see who they'd be going up against, because honestly, I have no idea who would they be going up against. But, I mean, all signs are leading towards Michael Penix for the Heisman. I'm not sure. I mean, Jaden Daniels from LSU has a pretty compelling argument. So that's going to be a little bit tough, in my opinion. But as far as I know, Caleb Williams will probably not be it. And Bo Nix is probably going to be in consideration as well. He had more touchdowns thrown than completions yesterday against Arizona State. I believe he was 24 for 29. That's right, 24 for 29, 404 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Insane. More touchdowns than completions. He's having a great season too. 3,539 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 2 picks. I mean, this dude's just killing it, especially if you've all, if you're diehard college football fans. Spent 3 years at Auburn, was pretty much a legacy there. Really didn't find his niche. And then he came over to Oregon for the last 2 years. Blew it out the water his first year. He actually had 50-something yards more in his first year than he does now, which he'll probably break. So he had 3,503 yards last year, 29 touchdowns and 7 picks. So that's pretty impressive. So he's also in the Heisman. But going back, like I said, to the Pac-12, it should be Oregon versus Washington, but I think they're in the same division. Oh, yeah, because the Pac-12's together, right? So, yeah, so it'll be Washington against Oregon. That should be a good one. I think whoever wins that one should definitely be second in the Heisman. I feel like Jaden Daniels kind of has the bigger reach right now in the Heisman poll, but let me just check that real quick to make sure I'm not wrong. Let's see. NCAA. Heisman watch. Let's see. Well, actually, they're saying Bo Nix is entering as the favorite. That's interesting. So Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., Jaden Yell. So I feel like whatever happens in that Pac-12 championship game will determine who's pretty much the number two. I think Jaden Daniels has pretty much wrapped it up as if it's 1-2. So that should be good, especially against they're playing against Texas A&M. So I think if Jaden Daniels rolls against Texas A&M, since they don't have Jimbo Fisher anymore, I think that he's pretty much a lock for the top two. And then I think whoever wins in the Oregon-Washington will be the number two. I think it's going to be Bo Nix, though. I think if he has a great game, which he's been having lately, I definitely think he'll be the top two in the Heisman. And as far as I know, I don't think any upsets really happened except for the Appalachian State versus James Madison. James Madison was undefeated. Well, not anymore. They lost yesterday to Appalachian State. So this one's an interesting one. So James Madison is obviously it's an FBS school, but it's in the FCS. So they are college football, but they're in the FCS. They were trying to petition to get into a bowl game. Obviously got denied because they're an FCS school. This is like I'm surprised North Dakota State has never asked to go to a FBS playoff. Well, I guess not a playoff game, but a bowl game, even though they're an FCS school. So James Madison tried, ultimately failed, which we all kind of knew. And it's kind of interesting, though. It's like, why wouldn't you want to put an FCS school against FBS? I mean, we've seen FBS schools in the college playoffs get steamrolled over teams that are better. So obviously, if everyone remembers the Cincinnati versus Alabama one, Alabama steamrolls through Cincinnati. It's like teams like that just get steamed. Like TCU against Georgia last year in the Natty. Georgia just straight steamrolled over TCU, even though TCU is a Power 5, but they're not what they used to be when they had the Andy Daltons and LaDainian Tomlinsons. I mean, they did have Max Duggan with Quentin Johnson, but it's not the same as back then because Andy Dalton actually won a Rose Bowl game. If anybody remembers that, I believe he won it against, if anyone knows it, I could be wrong, you could put in the comments, but I'm pretty sure it was Wisconsin. I could be wrong on that, and I believe it was Russell Wilson's Wisconsin Badgers. So if I'm wrong, just put in the comments, but I think I'm right on that one. So I think James Madison should not go into the FBS playoffs. I think it would be interesting, but they would get steamrolled by a Power 5 conference just because the Power 5 conference gets those recruits, and they're just better. They're bigger, faster, stronger, which is why they're in the FBS and not in the FCS. So, I mean, hats off to James Madison for trying, but I just don't think it would happen realistically if you would be in the college football playoff, if you would even get far. I think you'd be done by halftime. So, let's see. I think that's all for the NCAA football. Before I move on to some hockey, because I don't see any upsets at all. Nope. Don't see any upsets so far. So moving on to the NHL. So if you watch That's My Sport, there are some soccer, aka football episodes with me and Shay. And obviously we all know soccer is very big in Europe, all across that part of the world, not obviously in the US. So over the weekend, there's been the NHL Global Series, and the Minnesota Wild have been in there over the weekend, and I think the Red Wings and Maple Leafs have been over there as well. And the NFL has been trying to get a team to England for like 10 years, it seems. Now, with this global series, they were in Sweden over the last like 4 or 5 days. Excellent games. If you haven't watched it, if you have ESPN Plus, go check them out. So today, the Maple Leafs beat the Wild 4-3 in overtime, which brings Toronto to 10-5-2. Minnesota's 5-8-4. Goals from Toronto by Austin Matthews, of course, William Nylander, which is a big game for William Nylander because he actually had 10 tickets for his family, and I thought that was, good for him that he's probably sold him out. But I think the NHL should expand a team into that area. And I think they'll do it better than football, and I feel like football will be very butthurt if they did get it over them, just because they've been pushing so hard. Now they're pushing into Germany. Yeah. But I feel like the NHL would be a lot better. You're seeing it right now. Very good games. A few teams have been on it. Obviously, there's teams that are in like the KHLs, the certain leagues, WHLs, OHLs, all these different leagues with the NHL. But I feel like if you get an NHL team over in like a Sweden, or you could put one in Germany or anywhere like Finland, perhaps, I feel like it would be a lot more revenue going over to the NHL. I feel it would be a lot better than the NFL. But I feel like no one watches the NFL games, whereas in the NHL, people watch it more. So I feel like the NHL should do that. And again, great series. Well, the global series, great games that have been on. So if anyone has ESPN Plus, go check that out right now. But I will not talk about my Rangers. I'll just say that they won, because that is going to be on Tuesday. I'm going to put on a live stream for it with me, CPNY Sports, and Sunny Days Flushing, aka Sunny Days Jerry, will be on. Do a live stream on that on Tuesday. Check that out. Don't know the time yet, but we'll definitely be posting it on our X's, Instagram, stuff like that. So all I'm going to say is that we won. Beat the Devils 5-3. We'll talk about that more in depth, though, on Tuesday. So as of right now in the Eastern Conference, Boston's 13-1-2. Florida's 11-5-1. Toronto's 10-5-2. Those are your top three. And the Metro, my Rangers, 12-2-1. Washington's 9-4-2. And Carolina's 10-7. So head over to the West. Dallas is 11-4-1. Colorado's 11-5. Winnipeg's 10-5-2. And then in the Pacific, we have Vegas, obviously 13-3-2. Vancouver, 12-5-1. And the LA Kings 10-3-3. So that LA Kings are kind of surprised me. I didn't think they're going to be this good this year, but Tom McClellan has a good relationship with ex-Ranger goalie Cam Talbot, and Cam Talbot has been on freaking fire lately. I think he's averaging at least one goal against whenever he's starting behind the net. So he's 9-3-1. Okay, so it's a 2.02, but I think lately he's had like averaging a 1 goal against. So he's been pretty good for them. The only one I'm kind of hoping is going to do a little bit better is Pierre-Luc Dubois, who came over in a trade, demanded to go over to LA from the Winnipeg Jets. So hopefully Pierre-Luc Dubois can pick it up a little bit, because he has, as I'm checking it, he has 5 goals and 4 assists. So it's not too bad, but it could be a lot better. But let's see. Games are going on today on Sunday. Blue Jackets Flyers. And that one should be all right. John Tortorella's team versus the Blue Jackets, who are really not that good, especially after the Mike Babcock situation. Then it's Golden Knights Penguins at 6. I think the Golden Knights are going to steamroll through the Penguins, so I'm not really too worried about that game. Sabres Blackhawks. Obviously, people are going to be tuning in because of Connor Bedard, who's had some nasty plays. If you ever want to watch some highlights for this year, Connor Bedard, when he's away from the media, away from all that scrutiny, he plays excellent. He's got 9 goals and I believe 2 assists or 4 assists. I think he has 4 assists. So he's been playing lights out. So that should be a good game, especially with the Sabres. I think they're gonna be a playoff team, gonna be the last one in the wild card, but I could be wrong, but I think the Sabres are gonna go in. Then they got the Blues, Ducks at 8, and I think the Ducks have been absolutely they've been blowing my mind. I did not expect the Ducks to be this good, especially being 9-8. It's better than I thought they were gonna be. Just beating up on teams like the Boston Bruins, um, Colorado. I think the Avalanche beat them yesterday or the other day. Yeah, they beat them the other day. But just going toe to toe with some pretty good teams. I mean, I believe Ryan Strome's on that team. That's an ex New York Ranger right there. And of course, another one, Frank Vetrano. I thought he was still with the Rangers in Hartford, but no, he's been lighting it up. He's got 12 goals, 5 assists. At one point, he had 8 goals in the last 8 games. Like, he was just on fire. So I mean, this is a pretty good team, and their first round pick is coming into his own, which I believe I'm trying to find his stats. Here you are. Is Leo Carlson, 6 goals, 2 assists. Absolutely nasty. Great center. I think he's going to be good in this league. I'm just surprised that he's doing really well right now from the Swedish league. And the one I'm not so good at is Trevor Zegras. He wanted that contract extension. He got it. Essentially been being benched. 1 goal, 1 assist, only has 2 points to show for it. So he's not really doing anything. And that big free agent signing, Alex Killhorn, came over from the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. I don't think in baseball. Tampa Bay Lightning. He's 34 years old. He just wanted to grab the bag. He has 2 rings. So he doesn't really do anything. He only has like 2 assists on the year. They're barely playing him. I don't know if he's hurt or not, or he's just trying to, as Shay would say, check stealing. So that should round it up for the regular NHL hockey. Nothing really interesting has been going on, except for Milan Lucic. I forgot about this. That happened yesterday. So he's taking leave of absence after a quote incident, which we all know. I believe it was a domestic violence incident. So he's on a leave of absence right now. And I mean, talk about a reunion tour gone bad. Um, it's just not. He's just not doing good. So I don't think he's going to be on the roster for much longer. He only signed a 1-year deal for $1 million. So it's just a bad look for him. And the last hurrah in the NHL slash with the Bruins. So that's just no. That's just not good. But moving on to the NBA, Saturday night. What is going on with the Golden State Warriors? I believe they lost 6 straight after starting off. I believe it was 6-0 at one point, or 6-2, I should say, because they lost 6 straight. Now they're 6-8. Klay Thompson is a shell of himself. Not sure what's going on there. I saw this thing. It was like Steph Curry doesn't have anybody. What do you mean you don't have anybody? You have pretty much the same squad except for CP3. Obviously, Draymond's trying to channel his inner Dennis Rodman. It's not working out. Klay Thompson, like I just said, is a shell of himself. He's just not shooting well. I feel like it's career lows for him, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And it's just not good. It's just not good. I don't know what's going on over there in Golden State. It feels like the team is just going down. But I mean, we'll see. All has been serviceable for him. I'm just having a little bit technical. freezing up here. Oh, good thing I didn't have anybody here today. Oh. All right. Oh, here we go. So Shay just messaged right here in the comments. Steph doesn't have anybody. What do you mean he doesn't have anybody? Of course he has everybody. It's just Golden State Warriors. Everybody wants to be there. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, he says the Splash Brothers. That's what everyone kept telling me. And this is 2 years after Klay Thompson's been removed from being hurt with his knee injury, his Achilles. And we got Hollywood Ray here. He must be done with the church thing. Just doing Hollywood things. But yes, I am a solo dolo for right now. But it looks like he might join because he was covering the Atlanta Hawks. So we made him go out there for a little bit. But it looks like he's done doing what he needs to do. And yes, he does have a teammate who thinks he's in the UFC and Draymond Green. I think personally trying to be like Dennis Rodman, it's not working out. But that's just me. But I don't know what the Warriors need to do in order to get better, per se, because they have lost 6 straight. So, looks like he says he's on his way to church, but I doubt that. I doubt Hollywood Ray is on his way to church. He's definitely doing Hollywood things in Hollywood. Don't let it fool you, folks. And yes, his Pats need all the prayers in the world because he is not picking the Patriots this week because they're on the bye week, so he didn't have to pick them. So he is all good to go. They need to trade Klay. So where would Klay Thompson go? That's what I want. Who's going to take him now? I feel like a few years ago, yes, you could have taken Klay Thompson. But where's Klay Thompson going to go? Where is your options? Because I believe back then it was supposed to be for Minnesota for Kevin Love. Obviously, Kevin Love is now in Cleveland, so you obviously don't want Kevin Love. So who is going to want Klay Thompson? That's okay. Who doesn't Pat Riley want? That's the question. Miami has been so many talks for these. I guess I can still consider Klay a star. I don't think it's gonna be Miami.
I can tell you where Klay Thompson's going to go. He's going to go to China, Shanghai. That's where he's going to go to.
Shanghai, China. So I was just saying in the beginning of the show,
there.
Shay, that you were investigating some stuff for Atlanta Hawks since you'll be there this week. So did you find everything you needed to?
Well, yeah. I mean, Trey, he's doing straight. He's doing straight. DeJounte's ready to play the Indiana Pacers against Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, Trey Young. I know you showed me that video of that soccer player doing like that force field thing. Trey Young got some of those powers too. I don't know if you saw the game against the 76ers where for some reason he was just guarding DeAnthony Melton. DeAnthony Melton just fell down and he went out of bounds. And Trey Young was looking at him and was like, wait, what did I do to you? Trey Young didn't realize his powers. So he got some air bending techniques too. And he says he's going to use it against the Indiana Pacers on Tuesday.
Aye. Well, since you're on here, so Hollywood Ray thinks Miami is where Klay Thompson should go. But obviously everybody wants
Why would Miami
Miami.
want Klay Thompson?
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
why would any team want Klay Thompson in 2023? The only reason he is still with the Warriors right now is because that is Steph Curry's best buddy, and they need to do anything they can to make Steph Curry happy. Klay Thompson is to Steph Curry as to Giannis Antetokounmpo is to Giannis Antetokounmpo. They're basically the same player at this point. Their two players are invaluable. They're just there to keep the star player happy. That's it. That's what Klay Thompson is right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're on a 6-game losing streak, and it's just not. I don't know what's going on because basically the same
Kyle
team,
Lowry can at
except you
least play
added.
defense. He can at least play defense, and he at least is I would say annoying enough for the other team to get in their head. Klay Thompson is not that. All he does is just point four, and then he has his teammate put you in a chokehold. That's it.
I mean, let's say Clay does go to Miami. Who are they giving up? That is the question. Who would
Who would they
be?
want to give up? Haywood Highsmith? I wouldn't even trade him for that. I
Uh,
wouldn't even trade Haywood Highsmith for him.
what was that? Caleb
He's
Martin.
basically Tyler Hero that can't move or can't shoot anymore. That's Klay Thompson.
Mm. Well, I was saying it the other day. You know who isn't blowing it is Anthony Jeffrey Edwards over in Minnesota. Another great game last night. 23-3 on 5 of 10, 3-pointer,
Is that
9 from
really his
19
real
shooting.
middle name or just making a Michael Jordan thing?
No, I'm making a Michael Jordan thing. I feel like
Okay,
he could
okay.
be.
I wasn't even sure. I wasn't even sure.
I mean, you would know better than me. He is from Georgia, correct? Or
He
just
is.
a college?
No, he's literally from Atlanta. He's from the trenches of Atlanta too. So
Oh boy.
he is everything Atlanta that you would think Atlanta is. The accent, the way he acts and carries himself. He's like, and the thing is, you would think for someone in his early 20s like him, he would act different. He acts like he was from Atlanta during my time, or during like the early 2000s. He acts like an older person from Atlanta. Like you could tell he's been hanging out with his uncles and everything. You can
Yeah,
tell.
but yeah, I call him Anthony Jeffrey Edwards just because there's someone that me and Rashawn know. He puts up all the time for highlights. He'll put Anthony Jeffrey Edwards just because apparently he's the second coming of Michael. But I mean, you
Wait,
can't
so
blame him.
you said Anthony Edwards does that?
That's no this guy that we know. He puts up for when
Oh,
he
okay.
puts up for the highlights. He'll put Anthony Jeffrey Edwards just because he thinks he's the next coming of Michael. The way he plays
I
up in
mean,
Minnesota.
the thing is, what's crazy? I don't think that's really too far off. I don't think he's going to become the next Michael, but if he does end up by the end of his career, probably one of the best two guards, if not up there with Wade, Kobe, or Jordan as the best two guards to ever play the game. That's not going to be surprising for me. The way his trajectory is right now, yeah, it's like the sky is the limit. He's improving exponentially every single year. He's built like a football player, runs like a wide receiver, and is super athletic, can shoot. His defense has improved so much. He is the best player on the Timberwolves at age 22. He is the best player, not Karl Anthony Towns. Anthony Edwards is the best player on the Timberwolves. So the Timberwolves need to do whatever to keep them. This Gobert trade looks like it's finally working. It probably needed 2 years. Granted, last year they were also hurt a lot, so they didn't really get time to gel. They had a whole summer. Anthony Edwards, and I only found this out for playing NBA 2K, is that he didn't go back to Georgia. He stayed in Minnesota during the summer to work out with the team and everything. And yeah, I think I got that fact from NBA 2K. I don't even remember where I got that fact, but he didn't even come back to Georgia. He stayed with in Minnesota, got a dog, and got more of a dog in him as well. And yeah.
Well, how right? We actually talked about this like 2 episodes
No,
ago. So check
yeah.
that
But
episode out, the Seyi and
but now that's
Aaron show.
outdated. That's
Yeah.
outdated. Now they should keep Anthony Towns. He's playing well. He's even playing good defense now, surprisingly. So that episode's outdated. Now this is the new update. They should keep Karl Anthony Towns. It's working.
Now,
The process is working right now.
there's one process that isn't working, but somehow they overcame a 20-1 deficit, literally 20-1 deficit last night in the Chicago Bulls Miami Heat. So Zach LaVine,
22-1, 22-1,
22-1. I mean, it's pretty close.
No, but I'm just saying, like, even more points, like 22-1, and they ended up winning.
They won 102-97. Zach LaVine, me and Hollywood Ray kind of talked about it on Tuesday. We said the Knicks You could try maybe trade Emmanuel quickly, pull Evan Fournier. Because I mean, what do you have to lose if you're Billy Donovan? So I keep seeing Sixers, Lakers, and I think there was another like mystery team for Zach LaVine. Where should Zach LaVine go? That's what I want to know.
The thing within that Knicks trade, why would the Bulls do that? Emmanuel quickly and Evan Fournier, two players that get no playing time. Why would they do that?
I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of because I
The
feel
thing,
like with Zach LaVine and Jalen Brunson, that'd be a good one too.
not for defense. The defense, that'll be food. That would be absolute food. I don't think that's going to work.
I mean, but isn't that why you have Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson, and all of them? Like they can do it for you. I mean,
well, there's only so it's like the Portland Trailblazers with Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. No matter how many defenders they put beside them, because they put a lot of defenders beside them, they were still a horrible defensive team because you have 2 point guard size players that don't really play defense anyways. So they were just being taken advantage of. Yeah, quickly is good, but just still like, am I trading LaVine for him? No. So you got LaVine and Brunson. That's not a recipe for success. It's a recipe for scoring a lot of points, but they're going to give up a lot of points. So I don't think that would be a good fit. I feel like in today's NBA climate, it's really hard to even say where they'll go because, like Damian Lillard, did we ever think he was going to go to the Bucks? Like these trades are so unpredictable that just some team out of nowhere, like you didn't think that was going to be a possibility, all of a sudden pulls a cat out of their bag and will get LaVine. I mean, we were on that topic. I could say Miami Heat, but then again, he also duplicates Tyler Hero unless they want to send Tyler Hero the other way. Is it a coincidence that every time Tyler Hero's out, the Miami Heat all of a sudden becomes one of the top teams in the NBA? I really don't know because Tyler Hero's a good player, but for some reason, every time he's hurt, they become better. Is that a coincidence? I really don't know.
I mean, you know who is pretty decent? Hopefully, gets more playing time, and with the Heat is Jamie Jacquez Jr. from UCLA. I think when Tyler Hero's out, we should just name Jaime. I don't even know how to say it.
Like I didn't even know what you were talking about. It took me a second to register.
I thought it was like a Jamie, but he just says it different.
Hispanic. Jaime. When it's spelled Jamie, it's Jaime. Because I was like thinking, like, who is Jamie? Who is Jamie? And I was like, oh, you're talking about Jaime.
Whoops. Definitely sorry about that. I mean, the last
you're trying to gentrify his name. You're trying to Americanize his name, Aaron.
I didn't know. I can't tell. It looks like I want to say Jaime, but I wasn't sure. But without Tyler Hero in the lineup, though, he's got 10, 5, 4, 17, 5, 11, 3, 6, 24, 3.
He's a stat stuffer.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing pretty good. So maybe you could essentially put a Tyler Hero in there for Zach LaVine or something. I mean, they need something. They are 8-5, but they need something.
I could see Zach LaVine flourishing in Miami with the way he plays. I can see that flourishing, and I'm trying to think. No. Jimmy Butler and LaVine weren't teammates because Jimmy Butler got traded for LaVine. So
yeah,
they weren't teammates before in Minnesota. But yeah, I could see that flourishing. I feel like if they were to do that, LaVine might be playing the one or something. Like the way Miami works, he might be playing the one. But they'll probably get him to buy in more on defense. He's just basically a better version of Tyler Hero. So they're just upgrading Tyler Hero. That's just really it. So I can see Miami trading Tyler Hero. But then again, Tyler Hero is younger and he is cheaper, even though he's still expensive. So I don't know if Pat Riley would want to do that.
I mean, you know who is a lot of money, and they finally got over the hump? LA Clippers beat my Rockets 106-100 on Friday night.
Just one game. It's just one game.
It was off a 4-point game winner. Kawhi Leonard into a happy face. Emotionless Kawhi was so happy after that.
Was it like that Toronto Raptors gif where he just like stares at the camera and then all of a sudden just makes his smile like that?
No, he pretty much did like a let's go type thing. Like he was very emotional when James Harden hit that step back three, and it hurt me so much.
He's been showing a lot of emotion lately. Like Who did he yell at? I forgot which one of his teammates he yelled at for. Oh yeah, Zubac. He yelled at Ivica Zubac for not being in the right position or something. So like, I think Kawhi's just been frustrated because he had a plan. He was going to go to LA, chill in his hometown and everything, and might fuck around and win a championship. But none of that's been happening. All's been happening is just been chilling in LA. He's been getting hurt. So he's been showing a lot more emotion right now. I don't know if you're a Breaking Bad fan, but it's like Gus.
Yeah.
It's like when Gus didn't show any emotion at all, but then when things he cared about, like his hatred for that Salamanca, or when he was about to die, that's when he shows emotion. So it's Kawhi. Because now things are getting dire on him. He's getting that criticism. People saying that, oh, he never plays or everything. He's always hurt. So now you're starting to see from him being very stoic, you're seeing that emotion that he has right now.
Now there's two topics I wanted to get to before we go. One is, did you see there's a question, I believe it was on X. It was like, if Shaquille O'Neal didn't get traded away from LA, would they have won more championships, him and Kobe? I say no, because Shaquille was never in basketball like shape until the middle of the season, never took it seriously. So what makes you think all of a sudden, if they didn't get traded to Miami, that they would have won more ships? I feel like the animosity would have.
They would have won more.
You sure? After
For
that 04
example,
series against the
the
Pistons,
year
I don't know.
that Miami won, that would have been the Lakers. Because
Sure.
Shaq was still in prime form. And if there was any shooting guard better than Wade at the time, it was Kobe. So they would have won that year, at least. Now, the other years, I'm really not too. So, yeah, I know the Pistons won a championship during that span. We got to see. I got to remember who won championships during that span to see if a Shaq and Kobe team was going to be better than that. They weren't going to win. They weren't going to beat the Spurs that year during that period.
Yeah, because I believe the Spurs didn't they win 05 and then 07? Like they had that.
I know during that period they won so many championships or multiple championships, or they were always there. So I don't remember which exact years off the top of my head, but that probably sounds about right. Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, and Tim Duncan all in their primes. Yeah, Kobe and Shaq wasn't beating that.
Yep, and then you obviously got the Celtics, and then Kobe Bryant's
Then
Lakers.
we also got to factor in Phil Jackson left, so they will have a new coach as well. Would they still have a new coach if Shaq was still there? That's also a good question for the Lakers. Would they have had a new coach if Shaq was still there? Or would Phil Jackson would have stayed?
But wasn't he kind of stirring the pot as well, Phil Jackson?
Yeah, Phil Jackson was tired of Kobe as well, so there was that. And I think he was tired of Shaq, so maybe he would have left anyways. But then, were they still going to get his name escapes me, the guy they had after him? He had a long name. But were they still going to get that coach?
Rudy Tom.
Rudy
Tomjanovich. Yep, who was
yeah.
Houston's back-to-back coach.
And I don't think
the only coach that ate in Michael Jordan's era. He was the only coach that got rings that were not Michael Jordan's. Just saying.
Okay. So the plan was just basically, he'll be the only coach to get rings during Kobe's era. That wasn't Phil Jackson, right? Was it going to be the same thing?
I guess not.
History and play itself for that one.
I kind of wanted to get that one out there just because I wanted to see your opinion on
that. That's a good question. That's a
very good
question.
one.
I think they would have won at least the year that Miami won with Dwayne Wade went Super Saiyan. That if you would put Shaq on the Lakers, probably the same thing would happen with Kobe. I always do love the banter with Charles Barkley that says that Shaq went from riding Kobe's coattails left to ride Dwayne Wade's coattails.
I mean, you can't blame him for saying that because Dwayne Wade essentially took over the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals that year.
Yeah.
Absolute berserk. And that was a team where I think the Celtics kind of copied off of because of the veteran shooting presence that they had. Gary Payton, White Chocolate. Wasn't James Posey on that team, or was that
Yep.
after
Yep. James
James
Posey was on that
Posey?
team. Yeah.
So I'm just saying. Of course,
Who else
Hollywood
is on
Ray doesn't
that
want to
team?
answer that one.
Who else is on that team? I'm trying to remember. No, Lamar Odom was in that team. I think they had
No,
another decent, solid starter on that team.
I mean Alonzo
They
Mourning
had
was
Alonzo
there.
Mourning as a backup. Yeah, that was a great backup center.
Wasn't
Who else?
Antoine?
Antoine Jameson. That's what I'm trying to
No,
think
no, no,
of.
no.
Like,
Antoine Walker.
oh yeah, Antoine Walker.
That's his
He
only
was like
ring.
past his prime then, right?
Oh
He was
God,
yeah,
yeah.
he was well past his prime. Yeah, he was
Oh yeah.
well past his prime.
He went up about riding coattails.
How
There you go.
how would Antoine Walker be in today's NBA with big men playing like guards? How would Antoine Walker be in today's NBA?
Oof.
Would you
I
think it would
don't
be
know.
better or would he be worse? Because he was a chucker. He was a shot chucker. But maybe his
Uh,
style of play would be more appreciated during this time, right? Would
yeah,
he just be Julius Randle?
yeah.
I think that's the most accurate comparison.
I could see that.
Taller Julius Randle.
I could definitely see that for sure. But so there's 6 teams under 4 wins. Now there's got the Charlotte Hornets at 3-9,
Trash.
Washington Wizards 2-10, Detroit
Trash.
2-11, and then we got
Trash. They
Memphis
got a good future though.
Memphis at 3-9, Portland at 3-9,
Won't be trash
Spurs at
once the shooter
3-10.
comes back.
Yeah,
Won't be trash in the future.
with these bottom teams, is there any hope for them, like
Yeah.
going
For
forward? At
Memphis, once
least,
the shooter comes back, they'll be back.
I mean, they just lost
Once first
Marcus
person
Smart with a
shooter
broken
comes back,
foot.
they'll be back.
Or not broken foot. I think Marcus Smart had like an ankle injury. It's out for like 3 to 5 weeks or something like that.
Ooh, okay. Who's the next point guard after that? I think they
Oh
should have
boy.
tried to kept Tyus Jones.
Let's see.
Is there a reason that since Tyus Jones left, they can't win without John Morant?
Oof.
Because when Tyus Jones was there, well, also Dylan Brooks too. But when Tyus Jones was there, they were winning games with him at point guard.
I mean, I'm looking right now. They don't have any point guards.
Yeah, like
They
they
got
don't.
nobody.
Yeah, Derrick Rose is he gonna
Hurt.
be the starter? He's hurt? Oh man, they're
He's
gonna have to
hurt.
sign one off the street. Is Smith still available?
Yo, I looked it up. Ish Smith. Where is he? He is on. Oh, where the hell is he? He's on a team though. Where
He's
I was like,
still
yo,
okay.
he's still playing. He's 35. Where is he?
He's like he's basically like the
Hornets. He's on the
Terod
Hornets.
Taylor of point guards, right? He's
Yeah.
just like if you need a quarterback, he's literally been on every single team. But if you need a quarterback, he's just there for you to sign.
Yeah,
For him to be the backup.
he's on the Hornets right now.
Yeah, okay.
Ugh, I couldn't
So I'm
believe
just
it.
like I feel like I was thinking like a Wildish Smith got to be around somewhere for them to sign just briefly, just so they can use him and then just cut him. Then he'll be on another team.
And he has a ring.
I believe it. He's been on every single team. Eventually, one of them got
He
to win a ring,
he
right?
won it last year with the Nuggets. He's on the Nuggets team.
Oh, I forgot he was on the Nuggets. Yo, he has to be a coach by the end of his career. Thing is, he's a very smart player too. Though, really,
Yeah.
Smith is a good player. Just the thing about it is he's small and he can't really shoot that well. But he's a great passer, very smart, high IQ. I think he's going to be either a coach or he's going to be an amazing podcaster.
I can see that.
He had some funny story with Jeff Teague on Jeff Teague's podcast. I forgot what it was, but it was something funny. No, yeah, they were talking about Wake Forest and how nobody wants to mess with James Johnson and how Jeff Teague got on the bad side of James Johnson, but he was still talking. But he was lucky that a teammate didn't let them fight because Jeff Teague said he was scared. He just said like,
Yeesh.
I will mess with anybody except James Johnson. And everybody got story about James Johnson and how like, yeah, they do not want to mess with that dude.
Aye.
You know, he's does he practice MMA now? Yeah, James. Well, he's still a basketball player, but I think he also practices MMA. Yeah,
I think so.
that's
Yeah.
apparently that's the dude that nobody wants to mess with because everybody has stories about James Johnson and how they do not want to get on his bad side.
Aye. Well, you know who is doing having a bad side? He has his own team now. Jordan Poole. Is there any hope for the Wizards with Jordan Poole as their
Did
main
we,
guy?
did we
Because he's
talk
been
about
doing
that?
some weird shit. He been just
Did we talk about that timeout huddle thing? Did we talk
no,
about that? Okay,
we
we
have
didn't
not.
talk about that. Oh man,
Like I'm just
yeah.
very
This gotta be a documentary at this point. Like the example of an NBA player that just decides, like, hey, I'm just gonna fold it. I already got my money, I already got paid. I'm just gonna wing it for the rest of my life. The Jordan Poole series, the Jordan Poole 30 for 30.
It looks like it because he has just been atrocious for this team. I don't know, like he's shooting shots that I have no idea what he's doing, or he's trying to. He's getting the ball stolen. So,
He's been everything the memes thought he would be during the summer. We
oh
all
god,
thought this was gonna happen, and it all happened like within like 12 games. It is funny. Like
ay,
we
ay.
all thought this was happening, and I was like thinking, like spurring him out. Maybe he can prove us wrong. Maybe he'll actually be good. But like, no, he's exactly what we expected him to be. An absolute fool on the basketball court. I love it. I love
Mm.
it.
And one last thing
This is
before we
legit
go.
comedy.
No, it's not comedy. One last thing before we gotta go. Now, Hollywood Ray likes to go after Dylan Brooks. He's been nasty so far. Do you think Dylan Brooks keeps it up defensively for this Houston Rockets team?
Oh,
They did lose to the
I,
Clippers, but they are 6-4.
yeah, I've been telling people that the Dylan Brooks signing wasn't a bad signing. I've been telling people that like you take one series, one bad series with LeBron where he probably overdid it trying to be the villain, and he got into his own head trying to get in LeBron's head, and he messed up. He messed up during the Memphis series. He probably got too big for his britches during that whole season. I just feel like Taylor Jenkins, the Memphis Grizzlies coach, he just don't he just don't have the discipline to like handle all those personalities. So you have Dylan Brooks taking shots he couldn't take. You got John Morant thinking he's Tony Montana in NBA form. You just like Taylor Jenkins just could not keep that locker room in control. So Dylan Brooks now with Ime Udoka. Ime Udoka is going to set him straight. And Dylan Brooks, at the very worst, is just a really solid defender, but he also got him to be a positive offensively as well. And yeah, with Dylan Brooks playing the way he's playing, them getting another shot creator, Fred VanVleet, I'm still don't know the career trajectory of Jalen Green just yet. I honestly believe he just might be just a scorer, and that's it. Like probably an inefficient scorer who'll probably be a six man on other teams for all I know. Or he could be a superstar, or his ceiling could be Zach LaVine. I really don't know with Jalen Green. What I do know is that Alfred and Şengün, that's a budding all-star right there. No
It's baby
question.
baby Jokic.
He really is. He's either poor man's Jokic or the next Demonis Sabonis. Either way, that's still a good player. But yeah, I'm sold on him, and I think this Rockets team is going to be good. He still got Amen Thompson as well. So like, if Jalen Green doesn't become the franchise guy, he still got Şengün and he still got Thompson,
Yeah, I
or
mean,
or Jabari Smith. We didn't even Jabari Smith, which I will say is lighting the NBA on fire right now. I think he's averaging about 13 a
yeah,
game,
he's
but
serviceable.
he's been improving. And we forget he's still like what 20 years old. So
Yep.
like he still has all-star potential. He still can have superstar potential for all we know. Like everybody develops on different speeds.
Yeah, and the only thing I like about our team now is that we went from literally like 29th in defense to 5th this year. Like
The Ime Udoka effect and the Dylan Brooks effect too.
exactly. Listen, I will let Ime Udoka do whatever the hell he wants in that front office. Okay, if he likes a secretary she likes back, all good.
I
I mean, he's just changing this team.
I
But
don't know if you want to say that publicly now. I don't know. I'll let you have that
as
one.
long as he gives me a ring.
I guess it's how I feel with Rick Pitino in St. John's, right? Like same thing with Rick Pitino with my school because all those
I haven't
scandals.
looked it up. Are they doing good with the old man, Rick
We, we,
Pitino?
we won our first game against Stony Brook with flying colors. We looked confident, and then all of a sudden we lose in the next two, but they were good teams. I mean, we're not going to be a super team overnight. Today though, we are playing Utah, so
Oh
we are
boy.
currently 2-2. Okay, actually, okay, so this is who we Okay, this is who we won against. All right. So our first game was Stony Brook, 74-90. Then that following Monday, November 13th, we lose to Michigan, but Michigan's a good school,
Yeah.
89-73. We finished 1 point November 16th against North Texas, 53-52. Then we lose to Dayton, November 17th, 81-88. So right now we are playing Utah. I will be watching. Like I said, we ain't gonna be a super team overnight, but we got a team full of transfers right now. The recruits are gonna come in the following season. Once we tell them like, yo, you could get a, especially with NIL, we don't even have to hide it anymore. Like, to be honest, now they've been paying players from the beginning. I'm just gonna be real with you, but we don't even have to hide it anymore. We don't have to hide it anymore. We get something like, yo, you get an apartment by yourself in Manhattan. You could be right across from the garden, so you could just walk. You don't even got to show up to class. To be honest, we got people that will help you out. You don't even have to show up to class. The players there didn't show up to class anyways. I'm just gonna be real with you. So look, you could be in New York. You could be a man in New York. You don't have to be a New York Knick to be well known in New York. If you're just a star player for St. John's, everybody will know you in New York in the Big Apple. Like, I don't know how we do not get recruits. We literally play in New York. Syracuse does not play in New York. Syracuse is nowhere near nowhere near the city. Like, how we do not get recruits. So now since we got a good coach, players seriously got to come. Like, I still don't get it. Players seriously got to come. You play
Well,
in Madison Square Garden for Christ's sakes. Madison Square Garden.
apparently it's not the Mecca anymore, so everyone thinks
It's
it's just
like you
nothing.
play either way, even if that's not the Mecca. Well, who would you rather be? A star in Athens, Georgia, or a star in New York City?
I would pick New
I
York
want to.
City, but that's just me.
That's what I'm saying. I would be in New York City. Like, come on now. I feel like with Rick Pitino, we're going to get the players now. We got transfers. The transfers, to be honest, they're a band aid. They are a band aid for the transition. But now we're going to get 5-star recruits. It's coming. It is coming.
I mean, you heard it here, folks. So hopefully we can talk more college basketball. I usually don't watch it.
I'm ready for it. Especially we're going to talk about my school. I want to. I
Yeah,
want to.
we'll definitely be doing that on the Seyi and Aaron podcast. Again, there was I didn't even realize it, but I guess there's another bye week in soccer, so we couldn't talk about
Yep,
that today.
international soccer. And the thing is, I can't talk about it, but it's like so hard to watch. It's on FS1 and FS2,
Yeah,
so it's really, and honestly, it was just like Spain versus Cyprus, or who like Belgium versus a smaller country as well. Like it's not competitive games, so there wasn't really too much to talk about there.
yeah, exactly. So hopefully, put down the comments here before we go. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow That's My Sports on YouTube. You can follow us also on our X account _TMS podcast. We follow back instantly. Shay, do you want them to follow you on X or?
I mean, yeah, you go. Follow the That's My Sports podcast, because I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm really not that active on X. I guess I should be. It's still weird. It still feels weird saying X. That's why I was shaking my head. It doesn't sound
It
like
does sound
that's
weird,
some,
right?
yeah. It sounds like some late night thing. It doesn't sound like something you should be saying on public. Follow me on X. That doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, but
I'm still saying Twitter. I'm sorry. I'm still
yeah, there's a
saying
lot of
Twitter.
people that still say it, so it's all good. Obviously Shay was out there covering the Atlanta Hawks real quick, making sure everything was good. He will be there this week. We will be having a live stream Wednesday night.
The birthday podcast.
Yeah, I want to say
Birthday.
8:00. Could be 8:30. Just check your YouTube. We'll figure that out with Hollywood Red because he's being all Hollywood today. Also
Hey,
put down
like I said, we could do the birthday podcast. Your birthday, that coming Wednesday, my birthday on
is literally the
Thanksgiving,
next day.
day.
That
So
is why we're good co-hosts together on the Shay and Aaron
yeah,
podcast. And also to make sure comments see how I did on That's My Sports this episode right here. because again, I had to make sure Shay got all the coverage he needed for the Atlanta Hawks game. I figured, let me try to do a solo dolo show today. I had
He
some
was
stuff
like
I
Colin
wanted to talk
Coward out
about.
there.
I was trying.
Like Colin Coward out
Hopefully
there.
I did good. But that'll do it for That's My Sports. We will see you when we see you. Peace.
Tie this game at 60.